Welcome, friends, muggles, witches, and wizards alike, to Season 2 of Magic Muggle, a Harry Potter Aftershow. Today we're covering Chapters 1 to 3 of the Chamber of Secrets. Harry Potter's one of his most daring adventures, and the odds are stacked up against him a little bit more in this one than the last. We move out of introduction territory to some real hard knocks, facts about the world of the wizards and witches we've come to love so much. Welcome back, and friends, thank you for being here. Welcome to Season 2 of Magic Muggle, a Harry Potter Aftershow. We're stepping into Harry's second year at Hogwarts, and with that comes our own second season here on the podcast. Much like Harry, we're not first years anymore. We know the castle, we know the players, and now the magic only deepens. Of course, we've got that brand new HBO Harry Potter series on the horizon. Rumor has it we'll be seeing 8 episodes a season across 10 full seasons. That means every book will breathe like never before. And I can't help but imagine how moments in Chamber of Secrets will come to life in that kind of format. And let's be honest, J.K. Rowling herself has tweaked and shifted things across the mediums before, so it's possible this new show will do the same. Whether that's exciting or terrifying, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Email me anytime, magicmugglepod@gmail.com. Do you think J.K. Rowling should change a couple of things from the book/movies this time around to give her older audience something new to hang on to? Or do you think the stories are just good as told? Nothing should be changed. Maybe you're in the middle. Let us know. Again, magicmugglepod@gmail.com. But for now, let's dive back into the story as it was first told, because Season 2 begins where Harry Potter is once again at the mercy of the Dursleys with the worst birthday. As I said, we're covering this season, Chamber of Secrets, chapter by chapter, cozy and unhurried. I don't know if you noticed, our podcast art has evolved for this book, and well, I'll just tell you the little secret plan on that. I want to update it I want to update the same artwork for every season and book we do. Our format is the same as ever, never more than 3 chapters per episode, but sometimes fewer when we need the time to linger. This isn't about rushing, it's really just about discovering or rediscovering the magic, reflecting together, and enjoying the journey. So with that said, let's pick up right where Harry's story left off, with Chapter 1, The Worst Birthday. And you read that and you think, really? His whole life? And this is his worst birthday? I can imagine from being acknowledged by everyone as a hero to going to a place where you're not even wanted really makes you probably question your place in the world a little bit after a few weeks of that complete mental abuse. Harry turns 12, and there's no letters from his friends, no magic allowed, and no cake, at least not one he's allowed to eat. The Dursleys, as always, make sure Harry feels like less than nothing. Aunt Petunia's cooking for Dudley's diet, Uncle Vernon's obsession with the Masons, this big business dinner that's made him forget Harry's birthday, but debatably, even if he did know it was Harry's birthday, which he likely did, he'd probably still treat him the way he does. Dudley is still a pig in a wig, though this time he's pretending to be health conscious. Apparently he gained a lot of weight over at school. Even Uncle Vernon says something about how big he's gotten. Like, he doesn't need more to eat. He says, I want more bacon. You've had enough, Dudley, you great piggy, said Uncle Vernon. While I'll say there is some humor with the Dursleys, the loneliness here is crushing. Harry staring out at the hedge, longing for a glimpse of Hedwig, wishing for any sign from the wizarding world. Look, there's a good thoughtful feeling in all this that's very familiar to me, and it's the feeling of being unwanted and or overlooked. And the book really captures this well, because if you're used to it, you sort of just are like a victim to that kind of thing. And not that I'm like a victim of that or anything, I'm just like in the mindset of that, of that thought. It gets to you. And I think I said a little bit earlier, like probably slowly but surely, the summer's passing. Harry, he probably the only thing he's wishing for and hoping for is letters from his best friends that he found last year at school. And even, Hagrid and whatnot. And it just doesn't come. None of them come in. He even starts to wonder, am I like supposed to be in this wizarding world? Do I really have any friends? I thought they were my friends. it's just such a real feeling because you stack up the facts and you know that there's no way Hermione and Ron are just not contacting Harry, but living in this mode where you're waiting every day and it's your only hope and it's still not coming. That is heartbreaking, and I feel that. I totally feel that. Yeah, and just the heartache in that not even Lord Voldemort himself could touch Harry the way the silence from Ron and Hermione does. Let's move swiftly into Chapter 2, Dobby's Warning. You know, this is one of those chapters that you go through really quickly, even though there's a lot to it, because there's a lot of quick dialogue and a lot of explanation on Dobby's part. The magic does return in the strangest way. Enter Dobby the house elf. I mean, he comes in at the worst possible time, and I think he does it on purpose. The Dursleys are having this big dinner where he's got these potential clients coming in, and they have this whole thing rehearsed. It's actually pretty cringy, and you kind of feel even worse for Harry because he has to go in his room, and his job is to not make any noise and pretty much pretend he doesn't exist, all while it being his birthday. Enter Dobby the house elf. Harry must not go back to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry this year. Dobby is equal parts hilarious and heartbreaking. He punishes himself for speaking. He wails. He smashes things. And yet his devotion is deadly serious. He's trying to save Harry's life. The Dursleys, of course, see none of this. Only the chaos of a freak ruining Vernon's big night with the Masons. Dobby drops the pudding. Vernon cages Harry, and Hedwig is locked away. Dobby warned Harry Potter, and he really, really doesn't want him to go back to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, the only place where he feels like he belongs. He has family, and almost honestly, even though he had to fight Lord Voldemort there, he's more comfortable there than being here with the Dursleys, somewhere he has to not exist. I mean, Dobby has great comic relief, but it just turns into this tragic failure on his end, and it's really because he knows what's going to happen at Hogwarts in a sense by being a house elf to a rich magical family who I won't bring up just in case any new listeners are here. We all know who he is owned by the end of the book. And he's loyal, but it's to a fault. His methods are messy. Do we love him or do we pity him or both? I'm in the area of pity and anger at this point in the book. I'm thinking, what are you doing to my guy, Harry? He's just trying to make it through this summer. He just wants to go back home to his special tower in Hogwarts with all of his friends. It's all he can dream about. And you know what he does? He takes the whole possibility away from Harry. The chapter ends with a gut punch. Harry's freedom is completely stripped away. Bars on his windows, and he's in a prison within his own home. The magic that Dobby used to drop the pudding on the guests of the Dursleys' head, well, that was blamed directly shifted to Harry. So now Harry has a mark saying you cannot do magic outside of school. He gets a letter literally dropped on the same lady's head, and it's about him not allowed to do magic outside of Hogwarts. And the Dursleys didn't know that. All summer, the joke laid at the end of the Sorcerer's Stone saying, Dudley doesn't know that I can't use magic. He's been using that against the whole family. So I think that's pretty smart of Harry. Kind of kept the family on their toes. They don't mess with them too much. They feed him bare minimum. I mean, the saddest part was when he hadn't eaten for 3 days. Child abuse in this house, and his aunt gives him a bowl of cold soup, and he eats it and then gives the bottom veggies to Hedwig, who doesn't even want it. Even Hedwig's like, are you kidding me? And Harry's pretty much, look, this is all we have. We have to deal with it. Harry's really good at adapting, but even I can see his soul starting to crush during this chapter. Moving on to chapter 3, the Burrow, and then rescue. 3 tall, red-headed boys were standing in the flower bed grinning at him. End quotes. Ron, Fred, and George in the flying Ford Anglia. The turquoise, iconic car of this movie / book, which was normally just a book turned into a movie. Sorry. Harry's world shifts from isolation to belonging in an instant. We find out that Dobby's been keeping his letters. So everyone has been messaging him and wondering why Harry's not getting back. Everyone's worried about Harry because the Dursleys could easily be trying to contain his letters too, but they wouldn't do that probably until now, after Harry messed up so bad. I mean, out of that, I probably won't say this often, but to the Dursleys' defense, right? Harry really couldn't have done worse for them at this one thing. You know, maybe they would have even done something better by him if he just stayed put in his room. From their perspective, Harry is so rebellious that he hates them so much, and he's going to throw this pudding all over this lady and ruin everybody's night and Uncle Vernon's chance at a big sale. You know, I feel the frustration there. It's totally like playing around a Fortnite, and then, like, you know, your mom needs you, or anyone, girlfriend, wife, whoever you are in your life as a gamer. Trust me, I know what it's like to be an adult gamer. And then it's just the person that not knowing what really happens in the game when you have to get up and leave all of a sudden. Well, Harry doesn't even know how he lost. All he knows is, like, Dobby took the controller from him and ruined everything. That was a pretty bold cross-reference there to reach out to Fortnite. But you know what I want? I want a Fortnite Harry Potter collaboration. Is anyone in? Can we like get this to happen? Can we tweet Epic Games? Then bringing up Fortnite would have made sense in this episode. No, but really, Ron, Fred, and George in the flying Ford Anglia, it's just a moment of pure joy because Harry's world shifts from isolation to belonging in an instant. The escape is thrilling, ripping bars off of windows, zooming into the night sky. Fred and George even sneaking down to the cupboard to get all of Harry's school stuff. Dudley gaping from his room, and the first taste of rebellion this season gives us. Yes. I like how we call it seasons and not books, because we're in the middle of Magic Muggle season. I like doing seasons. Are you liking this format? magicmugglepod@gmail.com. We want to hear your feedback. What's your favorite part about these 3 chapters? They finally arrive at the Burrow, the Weasley home. Crooked, cozy, and alive with magic. It looks as though it had once been a large stone pig pen, but extra rooms have been added here and there was several stories high. Harry thought of it like it was being held together by magic, and it most likely was. Molly Weasley, the mom, scolds her sons for stealing this car, but immediately embraces Harry. This is one of those moments, like, you go to your friend's house and they did something really dumb, and you just kind of have to sit there while they're getting yelled at, and you are obviously out of place being there, and it doesn't matter. Like, the mom's like, oh, it's not your fault, but it's like, why did you bring him here? So it's like you're kind of indirectly at fault, but you are also trying to be polite because you're at their home, and it's just a whole situation for Harry, and I feel for him here. I feel like I've somehow been in this similar situation with one of my friends. It's so familiar. Ginny blushes at Harry. She's been talking about him the whole summer, apparently. The whole house feels like a hug. Harry loves Ron's house. There's this concept of found family that runs through these books in different ways at different times. And the Weasleys are so different from the Dursleys. Like, polar opposites. Not even, just magic aside. Yeah, magic aside. The support that comes from them, the wholesome hand-knitted sweaters for Christmas, the care and anger of a mom who actually cares about her kids and not just being mean to them to abuse them. They did steal a flying car that could get the whole family probably in a lot of trouble. And we might just see that car again, but that's here nor there. And by all means, the Burrow isn't perfect. It's messy, loud, and a bit poor, but it's home. And for Harry, it's everything he's ever wanted. That quote where he says it's a pig pen, I was even like slightly secondhand offended. I'm like, he's bringing you into their home. But it's just this honest mental insight from Harry. Not meant to hurt anyone, not meant to judge, just an honest thought that floated past his head. And by the end of the chapter, Harry's saying, this is the best house ever. I love it here. So in closing, we have just these 3 chapters, and we go from Harry's worst birthday ever, isolated, silenced, and locked away, to being rescued and welcomed into a family that truly loves him. That's the beauty of this opening, and it takes us from despair to hope, from prison bars to the warmth of the Burrow, reminding us that Harry's true family isn't who he was born to, but who he chooses and who chooses him. Next time, we'll continue into chapters 4 through 6, where we'll explore Diagon Alley, Floo Powder, and more misadventures. A little bit of Gilderoy Lockhart. Is everyone ready for him? If you don't know who that is yet, you'll see he's referenced in this third chapter. Mrs. Weasley's a big fan. Until then, thank you for listening, and thank you for reading along as always. Should we get a Patreon for this show? Would you guys be interested in that? magicmugglepod@gmail.com. If you'd like to donate now, in the About section of our episode, you can tip us through a tip jar. Never pressure, always appreciated. We just love that you're here. Thank you for reading along with me, and thanks for being a part of this wonderful journey. There's so much more to come, and I can't wait until the next 3 chapters. Until next time, wands down, hearts full.